Well, welcome everybody. My name is Janel Hull, and I'm the program manager for ChickTech. Has anyone here heard of ChickTech or been to a ChickTech event before? Nice, cool. What event did you go to?
I didn't go to the event. Yeah, you can be a couple weeks before.
Very cool. Yeah, Canby is great. Yeah, so I'm going to tell you throughout this talk a little bit about what ChickTech is. We were founded here in Portland, so we have a long and rich history of doing cool work for girls and women in tech in Portland. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the events that we do, both for youth and for adults, and talk about how you can kind of plug into some of those events. And then I'll share some resources that we have as far as in the Portland metro region, how to plug into all of the cool advocacy work that's going on with both girls and women and allies in technology. And I tried to build in lots of discussion points because I really hate talking at people. So throughout, I would love to hear kind of your opinions on what it was like for you growing up and learning technology and some of the maybe gender differences that you notice in tech today as you're breaking into the tech field or increasing your involvement in the tech field. So there'll be a little discussion points too. So if you want to find somebody to make eye contact with who might be near you, that will be the person you're talking to. So before we get started, I wanted to go around and get to know all of you as well with names and pronouns and like what you're up to at the Tech Academy. And then I want to hear what your tech education was like when you were in high school. So I will start us off. I'm Janelle, and my pronouns are she, her, and I'm not doing anything at the Tech Academy other than this, but I work as the program manager for ChickTech. And then in high school, I don't think I took a single technology class. I was really into science and STEM, but there was no AP computer science class at my school. I learned to type in elementary school, but I didn't know what engineers did, and I didn't know what coding was. Someone else want to take it from there?
I'm Faye. She, her. I'm probably dating myself, but I also went to school in a very small town, a very small school, and so they didn't have a lot of resources, but also I'm like 40 or 41, I don't even know. And we had a computer lab when I was in high school. I think halfway through high school we got one computer lab and 3 computers, and they didn't have any program, like you could type or you could play Oregon Trail, and that was about it. So there was nothing, and then as I got older, convinced my parents to get me a computer and sort of self-taught a few things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Sure.
My name's Chris Larkin. I'm the Director of Client Relations for Empower Health IT. We're a local staffing recruiting firm specializing in health and IT. We've been in healthcare and medical devices for the last 25 years, and I know nothing about tech other than I took some HTML coding classes in high school back in 1994 or 5, and my life changed after that. And so yeah, here to learn and meet people who are looking for work, as well as companies that are looking to partner with firms for placements. So it gives me as a resource, please.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, good. No, it's fine.
Yeah. Oh, I remember those black and white computers. So much fun.
All right.
My name's Richard. I'm a student here at the Tech Academy. Never really took any courses in high school, although I did have a big interest. I self-taught quite a bit. Now that I'm older, I decided to actually dig in, so I enrolled. Here I am.
Nice. Congrats. Do we want to go to the back row?
I'm Abby.
Yeah.
Back here. I guess pronoun I'm a she. Tech Academy, I started on Wednesday, so I'm about 3 days in.
Nice.
So, as for my tech education, we had typewriters. That was all we had at the high school, so that was my education. I fiddled with computers a little, but you turn them on, it does what I needed to do, and then I go off and did other stuff. So I was kind of jumped into this. I was looking to kind of gain background knowledge to help more education for the next generations.
All right, hi, my name is Arena. I have no, well, my pronoun is she. I'm not a student at Tech Academy, but I have attended a few of the seminars. You probably recognize them. Welcome back. Thank you. As for high school and my affiliation with technology now, well, I actually went to high school in Canada. That was a long time ago. But I remember we did start learning to code in 6th grade, so it's probably 12, so that would be middle school, not high school. And we started with BASIC.
Yeah.
So that probably dates me. So I learned how to program in the beginning with BASIC, and then when we got to high school, it was Pascal and Fortran, and in university it was Fortran and then C and C++, and now I'm learning Python to add to the mix. And yeah, so that's, and I focus more, not so much on tech, but on hard science. I have 3 degrees in physics.
Wow.
So I'm trying to pivot my career more in the tech direction.
Very cool.
My name's Jade. I am not affiliated with Academy at all. She, her pronouns. I was going to Portland State, but I'm currently unemployed looking for work. And I've been, in high school, we had no computer science stuff at all. So I've done is either from Portland State or self-taught.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I'm just going to do a bit on Mountain Side right now.
Cool. Sounds like we all might need to move to Canada.
Yeah, it's funny because Canada does really well at educating their population, but not so well at providing the tech and science jobs that those people move around. And I think the U.S. knows that because they say, come on, give me a job, pay you lots of money. And when you're a student and you're not making a lot of money, it's like, oh yeah, I'm going there.
Yeah. And I think we might have missed 3 newcomers. Or back there. Do you all want to say your name and pronouns and what you're doing at the Tech Academy and what your tech education was like in high school?
I'm Rowan, he, him. I have no real affiliation with the Tech Academy. Actually, I just kind of moved to town. I'm unemployed right now. I've just finished up a degree in mathematics and computer science at the University of Arizona. And I'm just kind of here to see what the tech scene is and meet people.
Cool.
I'm Yasin, he, him. I'm attending Tech Academy right now.
Oh, what your tech education was like in high school?
In high school. I don't remember doing any coding in high school, actually. So 0.
Yeah, me too. And then last one back there?
My name is James. I just came for December. My high school was I also never had coding experience.
Well, it's an interesting survey of the crowd as far as coding experience in high school. I think what's been interesting about working with ChickTech and working with high schoolers in our high school program is that we hear a lot of those same narratives of, I'm not required to do a tech course, I don't know what coding is, I don't know what engineers do, I don't look like an engineer, I couldn't be an engineer. And so even as the industry really continues to grow in STEM, we're seeing a lag in public high schools and areas like Portland as far as that kind of tech education goes. So that's one of the things that we're really trying to change at ChickTech. So thank you for sharing your high school history, going back in time with me. And to get us a little bit started, ChickTech, we're a national nonprofit, but we were founded here in Portland. So we have 29 chapters throughout the states. And our goal is to increase the number of girls and women that are pursuing technology. So as we know, there's a gender gap in technology, and our goal is to help bring in male mentors and volunteers and female mentors, people of all genders, to help raise a generation that is more gender equitable in technology. And we're really working on not just getting more girls into technology, but also transforming the culture of the technology industry itself. And so if you want to be a part of ChickTech, you're already kind of a part of the ChickTech Portland chapter, which is cool. We have a ton of events that I'll talk a little bit more about now. But When you're part of ChickTech Nation, you're not just a part of the Portland chapter, but also 29 chapters throughout the states. So the programs that we run that I'll talk about are not just run here in Portland, but also 29 other places. And we just got one Canada chapter that's floating up there. So I like to say we're international now, but that might be a little bit of an exaggeration. Counted. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about what kind of the gender equity problem is in technology. And so I wanted everyone to kind of like close their eyes or go into their brains and think about what you think of when you think of a stereotypical engineer or when you think of a computer scientist. Like, what are they wearing? Where are they sitting? What device are they using? What do they look like? Does anyone want to say like what they envisioned when they envisioned a computer scientist or engineer?
Glasses, pocket protector.
Yeah, glasses, pocket protector, pins. Yeah. Anything? Yeah.
Eating Cheetos in a long cubicle.
Cheetos in a cubicle. Yeah, some of those nerd stereotypes. Any other kind of stereotypical observations in your mind palace? Yeah.
I think in the Bay Area, and like such a huge percentage is white male between the ages of probably like late 20s to very early 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah, and usually just t-shirt there. I don't know what it would be like.
Yeah. Yeah, so white male, younger, wearing a t-shirt, for sure. And a lot of these stereotypes that we're envisioning are, there's nothing wrong with, young white male engineers, but we're envisioning them because media is telling us that those stereotypes are true and reinforcing those stereotypes. And in actuality, engineers are a really diverse crowd. So here are some pictures of the engineers that work with us at ChickTech. We have Ayantu, who challenges being in the tech field. It's really both of those problems, and so we refer to it as the pipeline problem of girls going into tech, as well as the retention problem of women staying in technology. And so our programs really work to address both of those problems. So to delve into a little bit of, why do girls not go into technology? Why do they not show interest when they're in middle school or high school and going into tech? I wanted to talk about a really cool experiment called the Draw the Scientist experiment. Has anyone heard of this before? It's pretty cool. So it started in the 1960s. There was a social scientist who went to different elementary schools and got drawings from 4,708 elementary schoolers. Almost 5,000 elementary schoolers were asked to draw a scientist. And from the 1960s to the 1970s, they all submitted drawings like these. And again, like some of the stereotypes that we talked about for scientists, there was the same sort of patterns of a lot of them being those nerd stereotypes and a lot of them being white and, in this case, slightly older men. There seem to be a lot of bald spots in these images. A lot of goofy glasses. And what's really cool and hopeful about this experiment is that since the 1980s, tons of social scientists have redone this experiment, so much so that they've worked with 20,000 elementary schoolers throughout the US and asked them all to draw a scientist. And since the 1980s, we've seen the percentage of female scientists in these images go from 0.6% when the social experiment was first done in the 60s to a full 28% now that we're in the 2000s. And so over the last 50 years or so, we've seen a transformation in the minds of elementary schoolers about who can be a scientist. And that's really our goal with engineering and with computer science as well. And so I looked this up because I was like, what a cool experiment. Has anyone done this with engineers? And I looked it up, and it turns out one study has been done of draw an engineer. And they did it on really young elementary school students. And so they have this fantastic quote in the study where they're like, unfortunately, the majority of these drawings had no images of gender, and they were mere stick figures. So we don't have any data about what elementary schoolers draw as far as engineers go because they were too young to be able to flesh out the whole body and hair piece. But I imagine that a lot of the stereotypes that are pervasive in science are also very present in technology. So, yeah. And we know that at a young age, girls express the same level of interest in STEM. Women Who Code did a study that found that in early elementary school, 74% of girls see themselves as being in STEM or in computer science in the future. And then by the time they get to middle school and high school, those stereotypes really start to sink in. And as puberty hits, they're like, wow, I want to be cool. I don't want to be nerdy. I like see a lot more media, and so they gravitate away from STEM and from technology. And so a lot of our programs focus on middle school and high school girls because that's the critical time to get them. And then on a retention level, we know that not enough women really stay in the technology field. And our report showed that half of the women who do get computer science degrees and who do go into technology leave within the first decade of their career. And the number one reported reason is unfairness. And so there's a lot of reports of kind of subtle interruption or subtle harassment or discrimination. And then on top of that, we know that there are a lot more extreme forms of discrimination and harassment that happen in technology as well. So if anyone has checked it out already, PDX-WIT just did a community survey of 800 PDX-WIT members who are both men and women in Portland, and they found that 1 in 6 PDX-WIT members had faced harassment in the last year in their technology career. So we still have a lot of work to do as far as transforming the culture of technology, even here in Portland. That being said, we're doing some really cool stuff to make that possible. So on a youth level, ChickTech runs a number of programs that I'll delve into a little bit more deeply. We run K-8 programs. We just finished up our middle school camp where for a week girls interact with different technology teachers to learn things like JavaScript and building a website and 3D printing. We also partner with the Girl Scouts throughout the United States to help girls get their STEM badges by teaching technology-based courses. And then we have a ChickTech Rural program. We know that in cities there's a lot more access to technology because of the industry here, and rural girls have less of that interfacing with engineers. So we bring our whole high school program, which I'll talk a little bit about more, and then we drive it out to cities or towns like Madras and Bend and Corvallis to lead events for rural girls as well. And then our signature youth program is our ChickTech High School program, which is really cool. It's a year-long program designed to take girls who've never done technology projects before and engage them in hands-on technology creation. And that year-long program starts out with a high school kickoff, and then it goes into monthly workshops where they get to explore different technical learning. And our high school kickoff is really cool. It's one of the things that I would love if anyone's interested in volunteering at to come to. This year it's November 10th through 11th, and here are some photos from last year. We have girls working to make electronic tote bags, and a girl building her very own laptop, lots of girls playing with robots and learning to solder and program robots. And so our high school kickoff starts with us building relationships with 22 different schools throughout the Portland metro region. We work with public schools, alternative schools that are designed for previously incarcerated youth. We work with youth programs, and we work with all of those partners so that they'll nominate high school girls who have an aptitude for STEM but haven't been opting into those opportunities. So a lot of youth programs work with girls who already see themselves as technologists, and they're like, I'm going to opt in to go into a Girls Who Code camp. And that's really important, but it's also really important to lift up girls who don't yet see themselves as technologists and give them those opportunities. And so they're directly nominated by their teachers or youth program leaders, and then we send them an individualized packet that say, you've been recognized, you're really special, we think you have the aptitude to be a technologist. Come, take this risk and join this event with us and 150 other girls. And so we have 150 girls that get those packets and sign up and come to this 2-day event of hands-on learning, which is really cool. And for 2 whole days, they participate in a technical workshop where they are doing all of it themselves. So they're guided through playing with Fusion 360 and 3D printing, or they're guided through programming and soldering their own robots, or they're guided through filming and technically editing their own videos. So they really become the technology creators that they're afraid that they can't be. And then at the end of the high school kickoff, we have something called the Tech Showcase, which everyone here is invited to. We invite community members, sponsors, partners, family members, siblings, all of the above, and they all join the 150 high school girls as they show off the technology product that they created. So we screen their videos, we run their robots around on the floor, we do all sorts of fun stuff so that they can collaboratively celebrate the work that they created together. And this is some feedback that we've gotten from the girls, that technology is often sold, at least on the youth level, is very competitive. There are robotics competitions and hackathons where you can win, and this isn't a competitive event, it's a collaborative celebration and multi-generational. So the girls in our program are a really cool demographic. Nationally, 65% of them identify as girls of color. 50% of them are on free and reduced lunch programs. 70% of them have no required tech courses at their school, and the majority of them have never created a technology project before coming to ChickTech. So this is like a really transformational event for them. Yeah.
Do you keep track of those kids after the camp is over?
Yeah, we do a survey of their STEM identity before and after, and then we track them each year as they go to college and whatnot. And so at our last year's kickoff, we were told that at the beginning of this two-day event, 27% of them were confident or very confident in their technical skills. And by the end of that 2 days, 74% of them were confident or very confident in their tech skills. So we see this huge spike in confidence because they are creating. And then we get a ton of testimonials of like, I studied CS because of you, and so that feels really good. Yeah, and I wanted to highlight one of our high school girls. This is Ayantu. She was a freshman when she participated in our program at Jefferson High School. And I won't read this whole thing, but she said, when I found out my math teacher nominated me for ChickTech, I was psyched. It sounded like the program I needed to boost my understanding of what it would be like to have a tech career. At first, I was a little worried because everyone else was talking about knowing Python and other forms of code, but I don't know anything. I didn't think I would be as good as everyone else, but I got it. I realized, hey, this isn't as hard as I thought. Afterward, I looked forward to attending every workshop I signed up for, and I was not disappointed and determined to become an engineer. So these are some of the really cool, just like badass high schoolers that we get to work with. So I wanted to hear some of your opinions on when you had opportunities for the first time to become a technology creator, and when you felt like you could be determined and confident to pursue technology. I feel like 15 is pretty early. Does anyone remember that moment where they were like, wow, this is not as hard as I thought. I can do this. Yeah.
Yeah, I downloaded Game Maker when I was in 4th grade. And I started just like programming games with the drag and drop thing.
That's
It was
cool.
super cool because up until that stage where they told me that like game design is like something that's like impossible. And I could really see how it worked.
That's cool. Yeah, so you had like a user-friendly tool that was designed for you. Anyone else had that aha moment in their life? Yeah.
I'm not a technologist. I'm a principal. I built a few companies already.
Nice.
I can't write 2 lines of code to save my ass. That said, as I'm learning to listen and hire those who can see the virtual world, because I function really well in the visual world. I'm talking to people. That's not too bad for a shy introvert that came from a really abused household in family of origin.
Yeah.
So I have to kind of listen. Everybody here speaks differently. Like, okay, I need to see this. How do you do it? There's more than one way.
Anyone else had that aha moment? Well, I know mine wasn't at 15. Yeah.
I don't think I really got opportunities as young because we learned video games and stuff that kind of got us interested in tech, but and I did take some coding in college, but it wasn't. I didn't think I could translate the skills into like a paying job. So really, it was like me recently, really just being sick and tired of being in, like low-paying jobs with no future. And that's really my aha moment.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's cool that you've had it recently. Yeah, so if anyone wants to be a part of these aha moments for high school girls, come see me afterwards. And we have 2-hour volunteerships that you can sign up for to be a part of these girls' lives. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about our career programs, which are relevant to all of you here. So we run a couple of career programs. For starters, we run ChickTech College at colleges throughout the state. So we have a Portland State chapter, if anyone happens to be going to Portland State, where they run, community nights and happy hours and career workshops and tech workshops. They recently ran a 3D printing workshop where folks got to learn how to use Fusion 360. So if any of those topics interest you, they're open to the public. We also have a ChickTech career program. So every month we do about 2 meetups. So follow us on Meetup. We do happy hours, technical workshops, career workshops. We just did a salary negotiation workshop, which was really awesome. We've done, technical coding nights, and then we also do lots of networking and happy hour and free drinks nights. So come follow us on Meetup and join us at events in the future. And then finally, we run the largest Women in Tech conference in Portland each year. It's called Act W, which is Advancing the Careers of Tech Women. And it's open to people of all genders, but our goal is to uplift and celebrate women, non-binary folks, and trans folks in the industry. And so that just happened. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what our conference involves. It was 2 days long of really awesome community celebration of tech. We had 60 different speakers. We had a keynote from Jill Nelson, the CEO of Ruby Receptionists. We had technical workshops and career dev workshops. We had LinkedIn workshops, all sorts of job searching stuff. And then we had a career acceleration area where you could go and do mock interviews, headshots, career counseling, and resume help. So those are all opportunities that continue throughout the year. We do a ton of job development stuff for folks who are new in tech, looking to pivot into tech, and more. It's a really great place to find your mentor or to meet other folks who are facing the same issues in tech. And so our Act W audience and our ChickTech audience in general is really cool. We have a perfect layout of folks who are just getting started out in tech, folks who are 1 to 4 years experience in tech, folks who are 5 to 10 years of experience in tech, and folks who are really advanced and kind of executive level in tech. And so if you come to our career events, you'll get to meet folks at all levels of their career development. And it's a really great way to see what your future can look like in tech. And we're not just open to technical folks, we also have HR folks, marketing folks, management folks, product folks, all of the above. And I just wanted to read another little Act W attendee highlight. Someone said, as an aspiring career switcher, attending my first Act W was an important eye-opening experience. Being surrounded by such an inclusive and supportive network of women and allies for 2 days inspired me more than I could really put into words. I feel empowered to continue this journey and hope to share my story someday of how these people helped shape my journey to tech. Someone else said, for me personally, I can't express how important it was to hear some of my deepest secret fears expressed by more experienced and successful programmers than myself, and how they dealt with them. That was the balsam to my soul. I like this person's style. And here's a picture of our Act W organizing committee. We'd love to have any of you volunteer to help run the conference in the future. It's our 6th year running it, so it's really empowering to be with a group that makes it happen. And 2 of our attendees actually found their jobs at Act W last year. One of them is at New Relic, and she says it's her dream job. So it's definitely a cool way to be really involved in the community. So I wanted to hear from you all, as some of you are in very different stages of your career, some career pivoters, some folks just getting started with tech or increasing their tech knowledge. What skills are you looking for, tools are you looking for from meetups and community groups in the region in your career, and what type of community are you looking for?
I guess I'm looking for a community where, there are times when we work on certain projects and we hit a wall, and it's nice to have a source of people that you can go to help with the problem, or give you another set of eyes of looking at it. And as far as community, it would be nice to see one that's a bit more female oriented.
Yeah.
Creates a safe space sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Anyone else looking for a certain type of technical community or?
I'm considering transitioning, and I I've been in design a bit, and so I was looking into UX UI as something to kind of bridge, I guess, something that would be more design oriented, something that would be more on the like cutting edge of what where things are going, and so I guess I'm just sort of looking for information. And I agree, like having groups where there's more women are less intimidating.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, that's cool. I have a friend in UX that you wanted to introduce you to. She was one of our speakers at FW, and she started out as a flight attendant in her career and hated it and managed to go to code school and then go into her career in UX and UI. There's some really cool stories like that that I think have been important for me in connecting into, to feel like, oh, I have a non-traditional winding tech path, but there are other people like that. So hopefully ChickTech and some of the other organizations that I'll talk about can be those resources for you as you're expanding your network and community. So first, I'm just going to sell ChickTech Portland really quick. We do a ton of events here in Portland. Like I said, the best way to hear about us is on Meetup or our email list, which I can sign you up for. And we do 10 youth events a year. We serve about 300 girls throughout the year, from our 150 girl kickoff to multiple events throughout the year. We also do about 25 events for career level folks like you all throughout the year, and we serve about 1,300 folks at those events. So they can range from ActW being the size of 560 folks to smaller, more intimate happy hours of 20 or so people. So there's plenty of opportunities for you to plug in if you are free in the evenings and want to meet up with the ChickTech community. And here are all of the ways that you can learn more about ChickTech. Meetup is the best place to follow us to hear about all of our upcoming events. We have a happy hour on August 20th, which is on Monday. Yeah, something like that. And then we are on social media at ChickTech PDX, so follow us on Twitter or Insta or Facebook. You can subscribe to our email list if you chat to me afterwards. We also have a job board. It's a national job board called ChickTech Jobs. And so there's a ton of Portland technical roles posted on there right now. So if you want to engage with the job search with ChickTech, we're here for you. We also have plenty of opportunities to volunteer. So if you want to be on a committee like the ActW planning committee that I talked about, you can do something more involved like that. Or you can do something like volunteer for 2 hours at our high school kickoff and get the feel goods of, encouraging and mentoring girls for 2 hours, and then peace out on your Saturday. So lots of opportunities to volunteer. Donations are an option, and then partnership is an option. So if you know companies that want to co-run events with us, let me know. And then finally, we are not in an isolated bubble as far as doing rad stuff for women and girls in tech in Portland. We have a really rich community that all supports and collaborates with each other to make sure that we're transforming the culture of technology and achieving goals that are good for everybody. So I just wanted to give a shout out to all of these different groups in Portland that are working to really similar mission-driven goals as ChickTech. We have Women Who Code, PDX Wit, Pi Ladies, Django Girls, Women in Science, Women in STEM PSU, ChickTech PSU, SWE PSU, and Women of New Tech. So those are all kind of some of the...
Next year.
Oh, cool.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
There's no chapter there based on your little thing, and education of kids have always been a big draw for me.
Cool.
So it's like, okay, well, if it's here, I was just wondering, can I transfer it and set something up in that area and get it going?
That would be so cool. We should totally get coffee and talk more about that. But we have a beginning Florida college chapter, but we don't yet have like a city chapter, so Tampa would be a really cool place to start it. Yeah. Any other questions about resources in Portland, what ChickTech does?
Going back to what you said about what tools you need, it seems like it's really important to have an online presence, have an online portfolio. And I just thought of that, and it's a good start. But mainly I'm looking to think of project ideas. So do you have any suggestions? What inspiration for that?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
glue, I don't, but I feel like everyone in the room might have even more technical experience than I do.
Okay.
Is anyone mulling over projects and can help out find out?
There's a group, it's like social impact design, and so they're trying to help like smaller organizations with their marketing and their design, and maybe like putting them more in the spotlight. And so the people come up with these projects and they need the help of like different people with talents in like the whole process of designing, like from research to prototyping to like implementation.
That's so cool.
And so, you know, it's, you do it for free, but gives you opportunities to like work with other people.
Social impact?
Yeah, it's like social impact design.
I love when we community source answers questions that I don't know the answer to. But before we wrap up, any other questions?